Hello, good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Business Live with me, Israel. We have an exclusive interview with the Chief Executive Officer of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, John Kumah. He will be speaking with Charles Aite about government's initiatives to promote entrepreneurship, which is key for any growing economy. First, though, a quick run through some of today's developing stories. First, the Bank of Ghana Inflation Outlook report is warning the country could miss achieving single-digit inflation for this year as prices of some food items remain high. This comes after several months of single-digit inflation between August 2019 and March 2020. The report points to a sharp rise in inflation in the second quarter of this year. Here's a Business Desk report.
The central bank said the disruption in the disinflation process has a potential of prolonging the time horizon for reaching a stable state of inflation. Latest forecast shows that inflation is currently above its upper limit, driven mostly by food prices. Adjusting for the unusual noise in the food inflation, the indications are that underlying inflationary pressures are stable. The projections, however, show a return of inflation to the medium-term target band by the second quarter of 2021, partly conditional on corrective fiscal measures being introduced in the near term. According to the report, inflation expectations of the financial sector, businesses and consumers have all trended upwards. This could compel the Monetary Policy Committee to adjust the policy rate, the rate at which it lends to commercial banks, upwards from the present 14.5%. This means cost of credit may go up. Inflation began the year at 7.8%, but prices of goods and services, particularly foodstuffs amid COVID-19, have pushed it beyond 11%. It recorded a rate of 11.4% in July after going up by a marginal 0.1%.
Staying with the central bank, an increasing number of investors are said to be fleeing the stock market and investing their monies in safer havens like gold and the forex market. A Bank of Ghana report also revealed trading activities on the stock market declined in the first quarter of the year. And then spare parts dealers at Abosokan here in Accra are calling for speedy disbursement of the COVID-19 stimulus package. The dealers tell Joy Business their earnings dropped significantly during the pandemic and therefore need the bailout to come through a lot faster.
Now they are in the process of disbursing with those that are in the medium scale and then the small scale, and those disbursements is going to be done through in conjunction with some of local banks that they have selected. So they are in the process, of working out, the modalities that they are going to be, used to disburse the money. But it is the National Board for Small Scale Industries who are, mandated to do this COVID, alleviation fund to support small businesses, to try as much as possible to speed up, their process, because our members are on our necks every now and then. They are asking us, when is this money coming? When is this money coming? So they should try and speed up the process, because they promise us that by July they will start the disbursement and hope to finish it by August. But we are now close to ending of August, and they have not even started the disbursement of the small scale and medium scale enterprise.
The National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEIP, since its inception 3 years ago, has trained over 40,000 businesses and provided funding for 10,000. But the COVID-19 pandemic is bringing about new challenges. How is the NEIP navigating that? Charles Aite sits with the Chief Executive, John Kumah, to discuss that and other issues affecting entrepreneurship in the country. That interview comes up shortly. Stay tuned.
With COVID-19 disrupting economies world over, one key sector of the world economy mostly affected has been that of the services sector. Jobs have been lost, millions of them world over. Here in Ghana, the situation is not any different. We've seen cases of job losses being reported by the Ghana Statistical Service, and even that of various businesses having their breath on the line. looking at the impact of COVID-19. One interesting side of the story has to do with supply chains being disrupted as well, impacting businesses each and every day. Amidst this pandemic lies the need for innovation, entrepreneurship, and a different way of thinking. To help us put it all in perspective, as the CEO of the National Entrepreneurship Program, in the person of Kumah, to help us understand where exactly we lie as a country when it comes to issues of entrepreneurship and innovation amid COVID-19. Mr. Kumah, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Charles.
It's interesting, if you look at the figures, very depressing figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, over 80,000 jobs currently lost based on their recent COVID-19 jobs survey. From your perspective, this has come at a time when we would have to be innovative and entrepreneurial. What is the entrepreneurial program of government as it stands now?
Yeah, thank you very much. We know that the pandemic, the COVID-19, has hit everybody in the world, and the 80,000 we are talking about in Ghana may even be a godsend situation compared to elsewhere. America has lost about 80 million jobs. I was listening to BBC this morning. For the first time, UK has crossed £2 trillion sterling debt as a national debt. India is considering to do another lockdown. So if you look at the consequences of the COVID-19 on the world, we were over-relying on China and elsewhere in the importation of goods and services into Ghana. But that challenge notwithstanding, I think this government was responsive enough to quickly empower local companies to go into production of COVID PPEs. We know that many firms in Ghana were giving contracts to produce nose masks, hand sanitizers, so many other things. And I think that even though COVID is a misfortune to the world, it was also an opportunity for those of us here in Africa to rethink on our self-reliance and how we can also live without the outside world. And I think it brought home the consciousness, and it also affirmed His Excellency the President believed that we must industrialize more, we must produce more of what we produce here, what we need here. And of course, you can't do all this without innovation. We saw young people innovating various machines for not just Veronica Backers, but automated systems for people to be able to properly wash their hands to keep themselves from the COVID.
Others might feel that our response so far when it comes to the SME sector, the entrepreneurship drive, has been a knee-jerk reaction. There hasn't been an established national innovation plan that hitherto could have soaked in the pressures of COVID-19.
Well, I disagree with that position because since 2017, His Excellency set up the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, of which I'm privileged to be the CEO. And he set up a fund, not just the office, but we had a seed fund of $10 million, which we were to leverage to raise additional $100 million. And so far, we have trained about 45,000 businesses across the country and funded nearly 10,000 of these businesses have received funding support from 2,000 cities to 100,000 Ghana cedis.
And what has been the turnover?
Well, it's been massive turnover. I mean, if you follow the M&E reports of these businesses that we have funded, people always watch the environment. If you're a young man who aims to become a big entrepreneur in future, you're looking at what has happened to those who succeeded. If you succeed, and only to lose your business because of the environment that was created, it kind of scares a lot of people away. And I'm saying is the reason why we are not seeing the kind of job creation that we needed to see. But
so the environment being the
political environment, not partisan. We can do our partisan politics and still create jobs. But where you take over people's businesses in the name of politics and denying them their right of ownership to property.
So that's partisan politics.
No, it's not partisan politics. That is brutish politics. That is killing initiative and drive. And And that is why we have not been seeing the entrepreneurial initiative of Ghanaians, because we have seen those who succeeded and what happened to them. But I can say that since in the Fourth Republic from 1992, some stability in our environment is gradually encouraging more people to come back to reinvest in Ghana. Because before, they could not even invest in Ghana because they are afraid of being chased away by the political environment. And what I'm saying is that all these things are important to let people believe that they can indeed invest and scale up in our country, and not just even invest and scale up, but they can go multinational even on our continent and then go beyond our continent. And we are lucky in our time as young people to hear that the Intercontinental Free Trade Area is being established in Ghana. What it means is that if we are bold enough to set up businesses and enterprises and start our production in our country, we can tap into a larger market. I mean, 1.4 billion population, $3 trillion annual GDP that we can tap into. That's a bigger market.
But are we bold enough?
We are. We are more than bold.
If we are bold, why do we keep having the interest rates high? Why do we still keep seeing the ease of doing business, being so difficult in our part of the world?
Yes, it comes back to the environment I was talking about. A number of factors have contributed to why we continue to have high interest rate. The banks have continually argued that it's too risky to give our loans. We can't locate our customers after they've taken the loans. So address system has been a problem, and we have seen the frantic effort by this government to establish the digital address system, which we have seen is going on well. We have seen the National Identification Authority pacing up so that we'll be able to identify every individual in the country and be able to trace you to wherever you are. So unless we are able to improve the environment and change the climate, it will still become very risky for the banks. And
do you think those innovations have indeed reduced, cost of lending, and even de-risked the cost of lending as well? Because they haven't.
Well, I've told you that we will see a lag period for us to see the results of these interventions. The good thing is that we are not sitting down. Government in one policy or the other, rolling out one interventions or the other with the hope that it will help improve the situation and relax the risk situation of the banks in terms of the assessment, so that they will be able to come down on the level of interest rate. And these things won't change unless we create the enabling environment for them to do so. And I'm saying that government is on course. So far, if you look at how things have even gone so far, I mean, just about 3 years ago, we were talking about 30 to 35% interest rate. It came down to about 25% interest rate. Now we are looking around 20-21% interest rate, but the target is to come as low as maybe 10 to 15% interest rate. And I believe we'll get there if we keep the pace and show serious and consistency.
The Continental Free Trade Agreement area starts in January 2021, and out of it has been the concern of the routes of origin. So, member states would have to produce and export what they produce as well, and even consume what they produce. Here in Ghana, we have entrepreneurs come up with so many stuff. I mean, brilliant ideas. You can see even some of them behind you. But the issue of the massive scale, the scale factor isn't there to meet global, even continental demand.
I agree, but the good news is that there is a start. It's always important to start, and then you can look at the scale up. We don't have the capacity now in terms of our ability to do large numbers, but we have the ability to start. And once we cross the starting stage and we are able to have market availability, the investment for the scale-up will follow.
It's been 4 years since your administration took office, and we're just months away from the Continental Free Trade area. We are late.
We are not. Immediately the government came in the past 3 or 4 years, they started a one district, one factory. The essence of these industries is to help fill the gap, is to help with the scale up, because before we were just importing. But now, at least, We have several industries being set up to do import substitution to feed the local market. Once we are able to have a bigger and larger market, what it will mean is that we are now going to scale up this one district, one factory to target bigger and larger markets and scale up. And that means there are more bigger opportunities in terms of job creation and even foreign exchange coming into our country. So we are on course.
Entrepreneurs, when I'm talking of entrepreneurs, I'm talking of the youngsters out there. Are they really ready for the single African market? From your perspective, based on the programs you've rolled out under the NIP program?
I think we are ready, but we need a lot of education and capacity building for them. You know, a number of constraints still face us as a continent. And one important observation we have to make is our transportation system. Sometimes it's even cheaper to travel to London from Accra than to go to, let's say, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, or to Kenya. So these are some of the challenges, initial challenges that we may have to look at in terms of facilitating trade on our continent. The rail system across countries, all the 54 countries on the continent. We have to look at the airlines. We have one major airline.
It's coming up. You know, the African continent is coming up with a continental air traffic system.
That's our prayer. Once that happens, then it becomes easy for me to just enter a plane and go to, let's say, Lagos. And then, because when you want to go by road, we all know the number of roadblocks and all kinds of custom.
But that's the purpose. Sorry, that's the purpose of AFTA.
Yeah.
And to ease, you know, movement of, you know, services and goods as well. But I'm very interested in getting to have a feel of the anxiety that most entrepreneurs are facing this time. Whenever they interact with you, coming up with their business ideas, their pitching modules, what kind of anxiety do you feel in them?
Well, instead of anxiety, I see hope. You see, most of them just want opportunity to scale up their businesses. And sometimes they are constrained in terms of financial support. And they think that they don't have enough marketing opportunities for their produce. And I am saying that with all these positive opportunities coming, most of these issues are going to be addressed, because access to funding is not only a Ghanaian situation, it's a global situation. But if you are able to differentiate your product and add more value and innovation to what you have, it attracts the investment. And I believe that over time and gradually, our environment will be improved to make it easier for these entrepreneurs to be able to achieve their dreams. But even that notwithstanding, I don't see too much anxiety. I think that when they come to me, I tell them that, look, they are doing well. Of course, not to the levels that we are expecting them. But for me, it's always good to be in progress than to be stuck. And we are not stuck, we are in progress.
The Ghana Statistical Service issued out a startling, report regarding COVID-19 and technology. It turns out to mean that less than 10% of entrepreneurs, really attach themselves to technology during the lockdown and even beyond the lockdown. How does this feed to you as a CEO of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program?
Yes, that is very true. And it's also to do with the culture of training we used to have. I mean, Ghana is just used to the traditional classroom learning. But the good news for me in this COVID situation is that now almost every student is doing their examination online. They are now learning to do a lot of engagements. That it's not only by traditional engagement that you can communicate. You can also do your businesses online. And that is preparing the next generation. And I've told you, I am not looking at immediate results. I'm prepared to give myself the next decade to see how some of these changes can happen. Because in the past 10 years, I remember even when I was in university, few people had access to computers and laptops.
But we're talking of an age where infrastructure, information infrastructure has been so dense to the extent that even our grandfathers have access to phones. We have seen the penetration of mobile telephony increase beyond even 90% in Ghana over the past few years. So, with this statistic coming on board, with not just people in the rural areas, but even those within within the urban zone not switching to tech during COVID-19, it lays a clear picture of how they've been over the past years.
Totally agree. Before COVID-19, few people will even listen to you about technology. But I'm saying that COVID has forced people to now learn it and appreciate it better. It is different having the phone, and another thing, knowing what the phone can be used for. And I can tell you that many people only receive calls on the phone. But those who know how to use the phone know that you can browse with it, you can do business with it, you can create business pages, websites for your businesses, even Facebook pages for your businesses, Instagram pages for your businesses. But I'm saying that that is something that has been introduced especially to the young generation. And for me, I'm not concerned about the old generation because I don't blame them. I saw even it myself, even though I'm young, I saw it in my days on campus that you hardly will have access to internet or even submitting your assignment online. It's something that is recent. And now I'm happy that in the next decade, we are going to have a generation that will engage IT more. And once they are more engaged in IT, they'll begin to innovate about how they can also create businesses online and make business. Because right now, if you look at China is creating almost 25 millionaires every month before the COVID. And they were creating like 2-3 billionaires every month. All because of digitalization. They are taking advantage of technology, they are taking advantage of new ideas and digitalizing it and making sure they scale up and make more money from it. So over time, we will be able to also empower our people to understand that it's not enough to do the traditional things, but if you can add innovation and creativity to what you are doing and also digitalize what you are doing, you are likely to make more money from it.
You do agree with me the fact that your institution has been so heavy on the production of basic commodities. We've seen the rice, we've seen the hand washing materials, but we haven't seen or heard much of you when it comes to technology, fintechs, the world of coding.
We are also there. One of the key products that we are promoting, but sometimes the licensing regime when it comes to fintech in Ghana is a problem. But one product that I'll be proud to talk about is the Ntobua Fund.
But why is it a problem when it comes to the licensing regime in Ghana?
You have to go through a lot, registering with SEC, registering with Bank of Ghana, you need authorization from NCA, it's a whole lot, and I told you about our environment. Easing it up for business hasn't been easy. It takes a while, instead of maybe having one law that deals with everything, you have one product, you have to go and register with Standard Authority, you have to go and register with FDA, you have to register with GIPC. So
that's why you see, you could, facilitate the easing.
One of the facilitation is what I'm talking about. If you don't tell people what is going on, they may assume that everything is fine. So yes, one of our mandates is to help improve the environment. That's why when we get the opportunity, we talk about it. We need a stability, we need a confidence and trust in people to believe that when they invest, they are protected. They also have to have the ease of going through the legal regulatory regimes to make their businesses thrive. And so, yes, sometimes fintech, you can start it, but the regulation can take a while. And I told you about Ntobua Fund. It's one of the key startup businesses that can go global from Ghana. It's a crowdfunding platform that has been started through NEIP and the private sector and is doing very well. So yes, we are not just promoting the normal businesses, we are also helping a lot of creativity and IT businesses in Ghana.
Beyond that, we have also listened to the side of various entrepreneurs as well. We have listened to most of their concerns, which has to do with government not really helping them go global.
Yes, that may be a genuine concern, and I think that all that government can do to help you go global is to create the enabling regime for you to take advantage of. Government has set up the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Whatever resource or information they require, I'm sure when they go there, they can receive assistance. Exim Bank is there to help them fund for global exports. GIPC is there to assist them on the regulations on how to also enter foreign markets. There's Ministry of Trade and Industry that is also there to support the Ministry of Business Development in my outfit. We have done so much on business advisory services. As much as they are blaming government, let me also advise young entrepreneurs in Ghana that sometimes it's also to do with their branding and how they package their product for the foreign markets. Because if you don't study the markets well, you will not be able to succeed in terms of trying to enter. And you may think that it is government that is making it difficult. It's not government.
And that'll be all for Business Live tonight. I'm Israel Lai. Do make a day, same time tomorrow for another exciting show.